Good morning, boys and girls. All right, we are up to chapter 14 in Swindle, where we left off last. They were beginning plan B for break, but this time breaking into Swindle's home. And they were discussing it, and the teacher overheard their conversation and was like, "Oh, you planning a burglary or something?" And then they pretended that it was for some kind of school story they were writing or whatever. But they got the brilliant idea of going to the town hall and getting architectural prints of the house so they can have a kind of an idea of what it is in there and how they could break in. So let's see how this goes over. All right, chapter 14. Mrs. Annabelle Abernathy, the building department clerk at Cedarville Town Hall, loved her files and treated them as if they were her own children. So when two 11-year-olds asked to see the original blueprints to 531 Park Avenue Extension, she was reluctant to hand them over. "What do you want it for?" she asked dubiously. It's for a school. It's a project for school," Griffin replied, pleased that it was only half a lie thanks to Mr. Martinez. "Town history, that kind of thing. Our job is to get a floor plan of a house built in the 20s or 30s. "Well, all right," she said grudgingly, "but you have to go and wash your hands first." "Man, I'm insulted," Ben complained as the two stood in the men's room scrubbing. "Does she think we crawled here through the sewers?" "Dude, it's the skate park thing all over again," Griffin muttered. "They treat kids like garbage in this town. If we can manage to photocopy these plans without drooling on them, she'll consider it a miracle. Just keep your cool. The last thing we need is for her to start asking too many questions." Back at the desk, there was good news and bad news. "I couldn't find 531 Park Avenue Extension," Mrs. Abernathy explained. "So I brought you the blueprints for 1414 Lakewood Road." She held up a cautionary finger when both boys opened their mouths to protest. "Hear me out, children. You're studying town history, and this is part of it. Between 1925 and 1927, a builder named Gunhold put up 6 homes in Cedarville, all exactly alike. One was 531 Park Avenue Extension, another was 1414 Lakewood. So this is the blueprint for the house you're asking about, since the plans are exactly the same." Under Mrs. Abernathy's watchful eye, Griffin and Ben photocopied the drawings and left the town hall. Seconds later, the papers were spread out on a park bench as the boys tried to make sense of them. We, who can read these things? Griffin wondered aloud. Where's the back door? Maybe we could get in that way, where Mr. Mulroney wouldn't see us. Ben squinted at the main floor layout. "I think it's a side door. There's nothing in the back. It's a solid line. Anyway, all the doors and windows will be covered by the alarm." Griffin stared at the plans until he felt his eyes crossing. "If I ever say I want to become an architect, hit me with a shovel. I can't get any sense of the house from this. We're going to have to see the real thing." "Oh, sure," Ben said sarcastically. "Swindle's going to invite us in for a grand tour." "Probably not," Griffin agreed, "but the people at 1414 Lakewood might." "Why would they?" Griffin grinned. "Let's go over to Burger King and pick up some ketchup packets. I'll explain on the way." Wonder what this is about. When the lady of the house opened the door at 1414 Lakewood Road, the sight that met her eyes told a chilling story. 2 boys stood on her front porch, the smaller of them dripping blood from a badly scraped arm. As usual, Griffin did all the talking. "My friend fell off his bike. Can we please come in and use the phone to call his mother?" "Of course," she said, "but first we need to wash that arm of yours so it doesn't get infected. Come with me." "Thank you," whimpered Ben. He hoped she attributed the weakness in his voice to shock rather than the fear their hostess might clue in that the blood on their arm was really meant to be dolloped on French fries. The woman hustled him up a flight of stairs and into a small white tiled bathroom. Wash your arm with soap, she instructed, rummaging in a drawer for antiseptic and bandages. I'll wait down here, Griffin called from below. He was already busily scouting the rooms and hallways, looking for an entry point from the outside. He felt a shiver of excitement as he looked around. Yes, he knew this wasn't really Swindle's house, yet it was supposedly an exact replica. This was like being behind enemy lines. The heist was almost underway. He unfolded the blueprint of the first floor, matching it up the walls and doorways, front door, side door. Some of these windows would be big enough to call through. But what about the alarm? Wait a minute, the basement. He found the entrance and flitted silently down the cellar steps. The windowless basement was entirely underground with no access to the outside. Another dead end. In the second story bathroom, Ben had finished watching the ketchup off his arm. It was a good thing he had the wipeout in front of the Bing's for sale sign, he reflected. The scrapes were legitimate, even if the blood wasn't. See, said the woman, spreading ointment on his skin. It's already starting to scab over. You're a fast healer, young man. Thanks, he mumbled. Sorry to bother you. His mind was downstairs with Griffin. Had his friend made a breakthrough? Had he discovered a way into the house? Swindle's house, really? That wouldn't set off the alarm. Suddenly, the sun burst from behind a cloud, and a beam of light shot straight from the heavens to illuminate the white gauze that wrapped Ben's elbow. Sunlight. Hmm. But this bathroom had no windows. Bewildered, he looked straight up, and there it was. The room was taller than it was wide, with a cathedral ceiling that followed. Look here. That followed the slope of the roof outside. Dead center was a heavy glass skylight. That's nice, he croaked, pointing skyward. Is it a window, too? I mean, does it open? It did, she replied. We had a special pole to prop it open, but the pole broke years ago, and they don't make replacements anymore. She finished bandaging the arm. Now let's go down and call your mother. You know what? I don't want to scare her. I'll just ride home. I feel so much better. And he was. But it had nothing to do with his arm. He had found a way in. Maybe they're onto something. All right. But then maybe they'll need some help. I don't know. You think the two of them could pull this off by themselves? All right. Maybe we'll find out in chapter 15. All right. Have a great day, boys and girls.